Engineers Inspector Summary Video. Here we are in Boston, and we have a fire escape here that's about 5-6 stories, and we're in an area where there's a lot of factories that used to be here, and a lot of these are being converted over to apartment buildings. So let's take a look at this situation. First of all, it does not pass the initial inspection. Several issues. It can't go to load test, can't be certified. We've got lead paint everywhere because this is all lead based, older than 78. A lot of deterioration on the stringers, so at this time this fire escape cannot be load tested. Repairs are numerous, so this fire escape is a candidate more for refurbishment than it is for a spot repair, because it's too much rust. A lot of pieces have rotted, so some sistering is going to have to happen, some replacement is going to have to happen on this fire escape. All this grading has got issues in that the knuckles are all rotted on the inside, so every one of these knuckles needs to be reinforced, or maybe just cheaper to get all this out of here and put in new galvanized grading. And while you're doing that, you're going to take a look at all your steel, all your T-bars, because some of them going into the buildings are rotted out right at the building. So the verification process for that would be a load test after all the work is done, or we can duplicate a lot of these connections after correcting the originals. We'll duplicate the connection with an epoxy bolt or a through bolt, since the building is going to be in full rehab. But we are getting steel that's popping in every way, so it's unsafe. I was not able to climb this fire escape. It's too unsafe. Too much rust on every single connection, every joint. They did replace some of the bolts, but they didn't remove any of the rust. And a lot of these, it was rotting through, like right here. And so they changed the bolts, but they never changed the rust out of it. So look, it just ate it. And then they did these Mickey Mouse little, look at that rust bulge right there, okay? So it's these kind of things where guys come in, they leave the rust, but they don't, and then they change the bolts, but every one of these bolts is compromised. Look at all the rusty tears. So 100% of these treads need to come out, and they're either going to be refurbished and reinforced because they have the spacers, or replacing them might be an issue, and better, since we're going to deal with the lead and get some new galvanized treads in here. Those things to consider on the budget. Some of these stringers have been patched so much because it ate all the way through, so instead of fixing it, they basically sistered it with this stuff. So quite a bit of that. Looking down, look at all that rust that's built up on the C-channel and the blowout. So a lot of these have already not only caused issues with what's going on with the steel going into the building holding the fire escape, but it's also got structural cracks coming up the whole side of the building from freeze and thaw, ice jacking and rust jacking. Some more rust jacking in the corner. So every one of these bolts needs to be swapped out. A lot of welds, but they never sealed, so we need to rebolt and seal. Tiebacks, railings are probably at the 38 to 40 inch range, and if they want, we can already bring them up to 42 with new rails. So this might be a candidate for removing all the rails, removing all the grading, all the treads, and then keeping the superstructure steel and replacing those that are pretty bad. Probably this one needs to be totally replaced, so that, it's a combination of galvanized steel going back to some old steel. Look at all that blown out. So we got a lot of blown out cement all the way up on this entire building. So that's one of the issues. This cantilever is out of balance, doesn't work. It's got a release arm here, and this release arm is supposed to be, as I can see, I can actuate it right now, and it does nothing down below. So the cantilever is out of balance. It's got a huge big cast iron weights in the back, and that's supposed to drop 2 to 3 feet per second and hit the ground and stay down. That's not happening. So this is a full refurb on this job. and it goes all the way to the roof. In case they're going to put a roof deck on this fire escape already visits the roof. So that's the main concern on this fire escape. It's not a candidate really for spot repair and load test because it's got too much damage to the wall, too much cement issues. So a lot of this is going to have to be investigated. So even with spot repair, I would not recommend a load test. I would recommend full refurb, new tie points back into the building, make sure that none of these structural cracks are feeding water back to the steel, which I'm sure it is right now, and then consider with the client whether they want to change out 50 to 75% of the steel and keep some original steel, or just put a brand new fire escape in its place. This fire escape is repairable, but at the present time it's going to need some major refurbishment in order to make it satisfy the code, primarily because the superstructure has been compromised more than 50%. 50 to 75% of the structural of this building is in decay, and it's all suspect. And the cantilever does not work, so right now there's an emergency situation if this building is occupied, but I don't believe it's occupied. So, any questions? Fire escape engineers, Inspector Summary Video. This is Inspector Meneses. 866-649-0333. 866-649-0333.